Sporting ended their 19-year league title drought by winning the Primeira Liga last season. With the help of a certain former player, will try to become only the third Portuguese club to win Champions League. With Ruben Amorim at the helm, life has gone pretty well at Sporting. A lot of players returning this season. Covering some of their crucial talents, we have goalkeeper Antonio Adan, getting up there in age but a solid overall rating of 81. Sebastian Coates will be another leader in defense, captaining the team. And then we've got two of the younger talents in the Sporting squad. Palhinha, a center defensive midfielder with an overall rating of 82, and then the talented winger Pedro Gonçalves is right up there with having the most potential in the squad. Players loaned in are also a massive part of the Sporting squad. Pablo Sarabia, while he's listed as a right winger, will be playing down the left-hand side for us on loan from PSG. There's only two incoming January transfers to cover. Slimani used to have an exceptional rating on FIFA, now at a 75 overall. Will offer some squad depth. And then we've got Marcus Edwards making the transfer from another Primeira Liga squad. He is also an ex-Spurs Youth Academy player. Sporting is very much known for developing players through their Youth Academy, and we sent out a lot of our talents on loan. For example, you've got one of the top prospect fullbacks in Nuno Mendes, who is getting significant playtime over at PSG. Hopefully we can have the next top talent here with our own homegrown talent. Victor Martins is actually a goalkeeper, and this is the first time I've run into this glitch in FIFA 22. If you take a look at his stats distribution, he basically has all the attributes of an outfield player, but you're unable to change his position, so we're kind of stuck with a 23 rated goalkeeper. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. We have plenty to spend in our transfer budget, and I actually intend on using those funds toward our Youth Academy system, starting with a 4-star scout from Portugal, staying in his home country to search for any type of player, and then we'll add a 5-star scout, also establishing a network in Brazil, which is absolutely crucial for career modes in Portugal as it is the top 4 nationality in the league. Also signing up one more 5-star scout, and for this season, we're going to rotate things around, but we'll start in Argentina to search for a physically strong player. Board objectives are something I keep in mind to make sure our manager rating stays at a sufficient level, but it's not the top priority. For domestic success though, they're looking for us to repeat in the league, also winning the Taça Portuguesa, and for Champions League, expectations to reach the quarterfinal. Of course, to add that extra realism, I try to replicate as many results as possible heading into the January transfer window. That will leave us top of the league table, and for Champions League, Sporting did very well to advance out of their group. Not an easy task with Ajax, Dortmund, and Besiktas. But over this half a season, we're going to see some significant jumps up in squad morale and also a few improvements in overall rating. Not actually spending funds to make transfers, but rather focusing more so on our Youth Academy, which I want to be a huge emphasis in this realistic rebuild. Trying to sign roughly 6 players for at least the first few seasons. Hugo Miranda is a 68 rated right back. Doesn't have the best potential, but I figure we still sign him because his overall is quite high. Estevez is up next, a 63 rated Portuguese left winger, 79 to 93 potential. Cardenas, a 63 rated right winger, also from Portugal with a potential of 84 to 94. Our final January signing will be our homegrown talent, up to a 26 overall, and what we're going to try to do is send him out on loan, as he does have that good potential, so maybe he can see a jump up in his rating. Sporting haven't had the greatest start to the Champions League knockout stages as they lost their first fixture against Manchester City 5-0, and it seems like our luck will continue in this save as we drew the first leg against Inter, losing out in the second leg on penalties. And to make matters worse, we also suffered a long-term injury for our starting goalkeeper, Adan. But because we had such a good start to the season, we're just trying to keep enough form to finish top of the table. This match against Benfica will be the decider. It's first versus second, and if we can secure a victory, we will mathematically win the league title. I'm excited about some of the changes to the Primeira Liga for FIFA 22. Benfica and Porto both having their real stadium added, and with club and stadium customization, you can do a pretty good job with recreating Sporting's home ground, the Estádio José Alvalade. This certainly won't be an easy match. I'd consider Sporting, Benfica, and Porto to be the big 3 teams in Portugal, and we'll see which side is better. As we get into these gameplay highlights, it is Nunez to open up the scoring for Benfica. Again, that injury to Adan proving to be costly as we have a lower rated goalkeeper between the sticks, and we'll now need to rely more on our attack to try to level things up. It's a good ball to set up Sarabia. Unable to get that one by though, as it is collected by Vlaco Dimos. But it's Sarabia again in the 27th minute. Has a couple of supporting options in the middle, and he's going to go towards the far post. Gonçalves spotting out the run from our midfielder, and we are able to level things up 28 minutes into this one. It's exactly what we needed. We'll now try to keep that going, but shortly after kickoff, we just had a hard time marking Nunez as he is going to set up the assist for João Mario. Again, it's Benfica ahead. Still plenty of time left in this one, but this wasn't how I was hoping to start the gameplay, especially in the first match that we're actually playing in this save. But it's our left wing back, Ruben Vinagre, on loan from Wolves, and he will be setting up the assist for Paulinho. Has some good target man finishing inside the box, and 60 minutes in or so, we are again level. Making a substitution, it is going to be the English player, Marcus Edwards, who will feature, and we'll see if he can make the difference in this one. Again, it's going to be Vinagre applying the pressure, and he's able to win back possession for us in a dangerous area. He finds Paulinho, and very similar to the first goal that we scored with him, this effort will give us the lead, and maybe this will allow us to lift some silverware at the end of this match. 76 minutes, and it's Paulinho who showcases some strength, and again, his finishing ability, providing the hat trick. Even if his rating isn't the highest, we're not playing in the top 5 leagues, so we don't need to have those superstar players. It's going to be a slightly different approach for this Sporting realistic rebuild, but we've achieved our main objective for Season 1, lifting the Primeira Liga title. We'll cover all competitions, ultimately finishing 12 points clear of Benfica in the league, losing out in the semifinals to Benfica in the Taça Portuguesa, and Benfica go on to win the competition. That round of 16 exit in Champions League was somewhat expected, with Liverpool winning the final against Manchester United 2-0. Two surprising teams in the Europa League final, but it's Atletico Madrid who comes out on top, with Athletic Club Bilbao winning Conference League. The 3 goals that Paulinho had against Benfica was a sign for how good he was this season. 25 goals from 46 appearances. In the assist category, the only player to get double digits was Ruben Vinagre, so maybe we try to bring him back on a permanent basis next year. I did want to check in on some of the players that were loaned out from the club. Menges only going up +1 in his rating, with Plata going up +2 over in La Liga. And then Cabral at Lazio also going up +2 to a 79 overall. We'll get 2 final promotions from our youth academy. We've got Fernandez, an Argentine talent, 65 overall with potential of 84 to 94. And 1 final player from Portugal, Rodriguez, a 63 rated center attacking midfielder with potential of 90 to 94. A combination of harsh board objectives and a lack of success in Champions League means our manager rating is only at 59. Some improvements needing to be made in Season 2. I have a lot of changes in mind this year. Quite a few players returning from their loan spells, and also some potential departures. As far as board objectives go, I'm much happier with the current state of things. Actually realistic for us to sign some players from South America. Again, expectations to win the league title, win the cup, and in Champions League, trying to reach the quarterfinals. Here's a look at our group. We've got Spurs, Trabzonspor, and Lokomotiv Moscow. Budget-wise, a rise this season up to 55 million. And that number will go even higher because we're looking to let some players leave. Even though players like Menges have the most potential, the most realistic thing to do is let them leave to other clubs in Europe, mostly in the top 5 leagues. And while a return to PSG would be the best option, I'm more than happy to review this offer from Barcelona, agreeing upon a 60 million transfer fee. Also, Gonzalo Plata heading to Juventus for 40 million. I would see him likely making a return to La Liga IRL. 1 final player leaving, with Tabata going to Arsenal, making the move to the Premier League for 27.5 million. I previewed this transfer for Vinagre, and it looks set to happen as a 10 million fee or so was agreed upon between Wolves and Sporting to have him join on a permanent basis. We're going to need to spend significantly more than that, 30 million to be precise, but that is still a small dent for a player like Vinagre, whose potential can definitely get into the mid to upper 80s. We still have that problem at goalkeeper with Adon recovering from his 6-month injury, so I figure why not make an improvement at that position. Also look to sign one of those players from South America, with Neto, who is a squad rotational goalkeeper at Barcelona, on quite high wages there, so they're probably okay with him leaving. And for just 8.5 million, this is a good deal. Goalkeepers don't tend to decline as quickly in their rating as they get older, so we should be set for a couple of seasons. Continuing our scouting networks, as always, keeping a scout in Portugal, this time around looking for a goalkeeper. In Brazil, we're going to be searching for a technically gifted player, and our 3rd and final scouting network will be in Spain to search for a physically strong player. As we get set to begin our season, here is what the starting 11 looks like. Despite the departures, I am quite happy with our team sheets. We still got some players for the future, along with some veteran talents who have a higher overall rating. And we'll see how we're doing here in January 2023. Again, finding ourselves top of the league and advancing to the knockout stages of Champions League. Hopefully we can advance even further into the knockout rounds this time around. but we are seeing some improvements in the squad overall ratings. But I did want to showcase this transfer offer for Marcus Edwards. I found it pretty comical that Spurs are coming back for one of their own youth academy players. We go on to decline that, and instead, we're going to be promoting all 6 of these players in our youth academy. Castro seems like quite the talent, only 15 years old, already at an overall of 68 and a potential of 90 to 94. Lopez also with a 68 overall, potential of 87 to 93. Carmona with his 67 overall, 89 to 94. And all these talents from Spain just keep on coming in. Carrizo with a 67 rating and a potential of 85 to 91. Closing things out with some Portuguese talents, Braga seems to be the GK for the future, 66 overall, potential of 90 to 94. And if he doesn't end up working out, we've got Prata with a 64 overall and potential of 83 to 94. So with that said, we'll get into the second half of Season 2 and into the round of 16 against Lyon, winning the first leg 2-0 courtesy of goals from Matías Núñez and Paulinho. Second leg also goes in our favor 1-0. As we're into the quarterfinals against RB Leipzig, you all know how I feel about them. They're quite easy to play against in the simulations as we pick up 2 good outings and advance 3-2 on aggregate. Semifinals against Barcelona, the very team that Menges left for, and clearly, some of the new arrivals for them proving the difference with Ferran Torres and Aubameyang getting 2 goals in the first leg, Griezmann and Ansu Fati getting goals in the second leg, meaning that we won't quite advance to that Champions League final, but we do have a cup final in the Taça Portuguesa, which we have still yet to win. And fortunately, our opponent will be Porto, another team that I wanted to focus some gameplay on in this save. If we do go on to win this match, that will mean the double because we finished 3 points clear of Benfica in the Primeira Liga. Porto seem to be going through a rebuild of their own. Of course, Luis Diaz making the January transfer to Liverpool. They have signed Brereton Diaz in this save, which I found quite interesting. On paper, this should be a pretty even fixture. I would assume that the average overall rating of the squads would be right around the 80 to lower 80s mark. And both paths to the final, as long as you don't match up against the big 3, it's a pretty easy road. But getting into these highlights, it's Brereton Diaz who sets up Vitinha, and a good save in the end by Neto. And I've got to say, this was a tense match. Fouls from both teams, and it is Brereton Diaz that picks up an early yellow card. Could have very well been a red, but we're going to get another chance here in the 39th minute. Matías Núñez setting up the over-the-top ball to Paulinho. And how about that for a finish? The diving header. Can't really recall too many times that I've had diving header finishes the last few FIFAs, so good to mix up the goals that we're scoring, and Paulinho seems to be the one providing the majority of goals for us. Onwards to the second half, Vitinha again seems to be the player to watch out for in this Porto squad. Played a big role in the build-up to that goal as Porto find the leveler 49 minutes in, and now it's anyone's match to play for, and who will be lifting up the silverware in the Taça Portuguesa this time around. Paulinho setting up Gonçalves, has the supporting run down the left from Cabral, and a good finish in the end. The pass was a little bit behind him, but Giovanni ends up putting the ball out of the reach of the keeper as we again take our lead. And it's Cabral who's going to set up the assist now to Gonçalves, has the pace to get by the Porto defenders, also has the finish to put this match out of reach. It's 3-1. So in our second season, we will be lifting 2 trophies. All in all, a pretty good campaign, semifinals of Champions League, and all the success we could have had in Portugal. Reviewing all competitions, we did see that exit against Barcelona in the semifinals, who then went on to beat Manchester City in the Champions League final. Arsenal will win Europa League against Fenerbahce, and it's Marseille to win Conference League over Wolfsburg. Gonçalves showing why he is one of Sporting's best prospects, up to an 88 overall, 35 goals from 50 appearances, huge numbers from the right winger position, also leading the league in goals. Núñez with 11 assists along with Paulinho. Our best youth academy talent to date is Castro. He's got a plus 12 in his overall this season, up to the 70 mark, and now eligible for promotion to the senior team, where we can then send him out on loan. All in all, our manager rating is in a much better place, and now we just have Champions League that we need to check off in this rebuild. Similar to last season, once we start to see some success and player overalls rise, that does mean that we'll have players leaving the club. The question is, which one of our top talents will be heading out? I think the expectations from the board will more or less stay the same moving forward. Really, the only one that might change is our success in Champions League, as this season they want us to reach the semi-final. Here's a look at our Champions League group. We have FC Bayern, Club Brugge, and Hajduk Split. A significant rise, though, in our budget, over the 100 million mark, and closing in on 150 million. But generally speaking, I think Gonçalves is the top player, and any club in the world would be happy to have him arrive. In the end, I thought the Chelsea offer was the most appealing. They are competing to be one of the best teams in England, and of course have that success in Champions League, which we have not yet had in this Sporting rebuild. 200 million is a lot to spend on a single player, but because Gonçalves has potential to be special, and I assume Chelsea funds are not going to be as much of an issue, it may be worth it for them. The plus side of him leaving is that we are able to make a couple of arrivals. I didn't realize it at the time, but Duarte is a former Sporting player. From my understanding, never really broke into the starting 11, then made the move to La Liga, and now he's up to an 81 overall, so that's going to be a welcome addition to our defense as he makes the transfer for 35 million, especially now that some of our center backs are going to start declining in their overall. The other arrival, I know that Porro is a player that spent a season on loan with us, but I think he's exceeded the overall rating to justify a realistic transfer. So we're going to sign another Spanish right back in Pablo Maffeo, who plays over at Stuttgart, has been sent out on loan a couple of times. So I think a move to Portugal could make sense for his career, as he makes the transfer for 25 million, which again is more than the player's valuation, but we've got plenty of funds at our disposal. The gradual improvements to our starting 11 while maintaining the aspect of realism might be enough for us to achieve Champions League success. We'll see how we're doing in January. This time, not quite as well in the league, 5 points behind Porto. But we'll again see a second place finish in our Champions League group. Went down to the final match day, but a draw against Club Brugge was enough for us to advance to the knockout stages. Injuries to our starting 11 seem to be a recurring theme. Now it's Duarte that's going to be out for a couple of weeks. But just one departure here, one of our rotational strikers heading to Hellas Verona for 4.3 million. And as we head into the knockout stages of Champions League, we've got a fully healthy starting 11, starting with a fixture against Liverpool. They may have made it to a Champions League final a few years ago, but their success is going to end here as we advance 5-4 on aggregate. Quarterfinals against Manchester City. I thought this was fitting considering City are likely going to be the team that knocks Sporting out of this season's Champions League competition. They're going to do the exact same thing in this rebuild. Unfortunately, this is going to be a season where we don't achieve as much success, finishing second in the league, a first-round exit in the Taça Portuguesa, which I found quite entertaining. And then, of course, the quarterfinal exit in Champions League, with PSG winning the entire competition against Manchester United, Atletico Madrid again winning Europa League, and it's Napoli to win Conference League against West Ham. Clearly, the departure of Gonçalves impacted our performance. Cabral still with some good numbers, 23 goals from 39 appearances, and then in the assist category, it's Nunez from the midfield that ends up leading the way. One bright note is that Braga, that potential to be special goalkeeper, spent a season on loan at Saint-Etienne and saw +7 in his overall to 74, so now he's starting to get into the competition for that starting goalkeeper spot. We'll again see a big drop-off in our manager rating, so heading into Season 4, we'll need to focus more on our board objectives. While I spent the first few seasons of this rebuild focusing heavily on realism, the only way for us to take the step up in Champions League, in my opinion, is to sign a higher caliber of players. And if we don't do that soon enough, we're probably going to get sacked by the board. They again want us to win the league, win the cup, and reach the semifinal of Champions League. Because we finished second in the Premier Liga, we will need to first go through the qualifying rounds, but here's a look at our transfer budget. Again, a rise this season up to 190 million or so. And for full transparency, the only signing I'm going to make here in the summer was actually completed in Season 3. The only way for Cristiano Ronaldo to return back to the club he got his start at was if we made the signing at the end of last year, because he will be retiring at season's end, regardless of the contract length. Even though he's no longer at his peak overall, maybe an 85 rated Cristiano Ronaldo can bring glory in Champions League to his first club. That does mean Paulinho will be on the way out, ultimately accepting this offer from Real Madrid for a 50 million fee. I thought it was quite fitting that Real Madrid is one of Ronaldo's former clubs. But an early start to this season's matches as we play against Midtjylland in Champions League qualifying. Here's our starting 11. Ronaldo already dropping in his overall, which is not great to see, but he'll be wearing that captain's armband for us. Getting into the simulations, a 0-0 draw in the first leg of qualifying, but we end up getting the only goal from Ronaldo in the second leg to see us advance to the playoff round against Feyenoord. Again, it's Ronaldo scoring along with Maffeo to give us a 2-1 lead in the first leg. 3-1 in the second leg, puts us through 5-2 on aggregate and into the group stage against Real Madrid, Salzburg, and Sparta Praha. Will this be the year we make strides and redeem ourselves in the league and Champions League? We're again second, equal on points with Porto, and again a second place finish in Champions League. I think this is probably the lowest point total I've seen with us still advancing to the knockouts with only 1 win and 4 draws. Fortunately, Ronaldo hasn't seen too much more of a decline, down 1 lower in his overall to an 83. But I still think this starting 11 can see success as we even look to improve it, making a signing within the league. It's Lincoln, a center attacking midfielder from Santa Clara. I wanted to bring in another Brazilian talent to the starting 11. The transfer fee is a lot for an 81 rated player, but there's not too many high potential players that play outside of the big 3 teams in Portugal. As Lincoln shifts into the left center attacking mid role, here will be the team to take on the knockout stages. Paulinho actually moving back to the center back position. I was kind of tired of seeing a negative sharpness because it took too long for him to eventually convert to the center mid position, and this formation doesn't suit a center defensive midfielder. But it's Atletico Madrid in the round of 16. A late goal from Giovanni ends up giving us the equalizer. And in the second leg, we will see the aggregate scoreline in our favor, putting us through to the quarterfinals against Chelsea. It's a rematch against Gonçalves, and the first leg ends in a 1-1 draw. With our new signing, Ronaldo scoring both goals in the second leg, putting us in to the semifinals again against Manchester City. Can we get our revenge? We really should have had the aggregate scoreline lead into the second leg, but that missed penalty from Giovanni ends up costing us, as again, we'll see an exit in the semifinal, losing out in the Primeira Liga by 4 points to Porto, also a loss in the Taça Portuguesa to Benfica. As far as Champions League goes, Manchester City do win the competition, so both times that we've reached the semifinal, we lose to the eventual winner. Hertha Berlin with the Europa League victory against Leipzig, and Milan with a Conference League win against Everton. Despite a drop in his overall, Ronaldo still leading the club in goals, 23 goals from 50 appearances. For the assist category, Edwards has started to see a growth in his rating. He's taken over at the right wing position for Gonçalves, and will hit the double digits mark. And Castro, who has been slowly but surely increasing in his overall, can now start to compete for a starting 11 spot. Manager rating still in the red, but an improvement from last year, and things are looking up heading into Season 5. Still some questions to ask for in this Sporting squad. How can we make up for the departure of Ronaldo? Is Thiago Thomas ready to be the main man here? I'm still not sure about that, but looking over the board objectives, it's going to be pretty easy for us to see our manager rating get a rise. As far as domestic success, similar to last year, and continentally, they want us to reach the Champions League final. Again, taking part in the qualification round, but we'll showcase that a little bit more later. Roughly 200 million in the transfer budget. This far into the save, you're going to run into some newly created players. Ronaldo, having retired, will have his regen now available. Usually when the player retires for your own team, they are in the free agents, but this time around, he was automatically recreated for another club in the Primeira Liga. It's a lot to spend on a single player, but with potential to be special, that's the sort of signing we need to make. We will review this offer for Marcus Edwards. Newcastle, I thought it was fitting with them having the takeover to look to sign some top English talent playing abroad, which is kind of the philosophy they've taken in recent transfer windows. It's again going to be a 9-digit fee for this transfer, as Marcus Edwards makes his return to the Premier League. But we'll get into the qualification round against Rangers. Here's the starting 11. Medeiros at an 84 overall will likely reach an even higher rating than Ronaldo had for us. And Castro, our best youth academy find to date, will get his chance at the right winger position. Simulations 1-0 in the first leg against Rangers, 3-1 in the second leg, putting us up against Besiktas in the playoff rounds. I believe we matched against them in the group stage before, and we're going to have similar luck as we advance 3-1 on aggregate. Our Champions League group will consist of City, Club Brugge, and FCSB, and reviewing results in January 2026. We're falling into the trend of second place in Portugal, but we will again finish second in our Champions League group, which is a positive result, especially because we finished equal on points with City. As expected, Medeiros has gone up in his rating to an 87, but Neto is starting to get on in age, so I think a new goalkeeper signing may be needed, and why not look to have another former Sporting player return to the club. Luis Maximiano has made the move to La Liga IRL, but in this save, he's over at Napoli, who have two quality goalkeepers with Maximiano and Meslier, so they would probably be fine with having one of them leave, as we paid $55 million to make this transfer final. But I believe this will be the missing piece for us to achieve Champions League success as we head in to the knockout round, starting with a fixture against Leverkusen in the round of 16. 4-2 in the first leg, courtesy of some goals from the midfield, and in the second leg, Leverkusen do get the win, but we advance due to aggregate into the quarterfinals against Liverpool, who we've had a lot of success against in this rebuild, and that continues here. 3-1 in the first leg, 5-2 in the second leg, an 8-3 scoreline will match us up against Atletico Madrid in the semifinals. It's our two Brazilian players, Lincoln and Castro, who get goals in the first leg. 1-0 result in the second leg means that we have finally reached the Champions League final. And how about this for an opponent? It's Chelsea. I was ready for a rematch against Gonçalves, and Chelsea, having been eliminated from Champions League against us before, will be looking for their revenge. Apparently, we had a good second half of the season as we finished top of the league in Portugal. Again, an early exit in the quarterfinals of the Taça Portuguesa, with Porto winning the competition. But this will be the final match we play, the last piece of silverware we're looking to achieve here with Sporting. And I think because of the glitch where players are playing out of position, Gonçalves wasn't available in their starting 11. Either that, or he missed this final due to a suspension or injury. We've had several close calls in this rebuild, reaching the semifinal on several occasions, but now is our chance to finally achieve the peak of European success as far as club competitions go. And getting into these highlights, 13 minutes in from a set piece, it's Paulinho who's now playing as a center back and nearly scores from the corner kick. Moise Kean making the transfer to Chelsea, and with a good effort on target, Maximiano with a solid save. Cabral timed this run perfectly to avoid the offside trap, and it is the Ronaldo regen, Medeiros, who opens up the scoring in this Champions League final. 34 minutes in, and we are ahead. It's Lincoln who will find Nunez. Our midfield is just so stacked. They are so high in their overall rating, and that means we're able to achieve some of these long shot efforts, doubling our lead. And taking a look on the instant replay, just getting by the Chelsea defender and past the outstretched arm of Mendy. Can we achieve similar momentum in the second half? A good through ball from Mason Mount to find Keane, but Maximiano equal to it. This was such a solid save, just good reflexes and a good stretch to deny that effort from the Chelsea attacker. Clearly the choice to improve at the GK spot has paid off. I think a third goal should seal it for us, and it's Medeiros that's played through in the 54th minute. With so much quality and so much potential, he's able to pull off this chip effort. I think at this point, there is very slim odds that Chelsea find their way back into this one. We can just see out the rest of the match and keep on watching this chip shot replay. All in all, not a whole lot went Chelsea's way in this one. I mean, there was that solid save from Maximiano to deny the Moise Kean effort, and here the rebound going off of N'Golo Kanté, but he is going to be called for offside. It was the final chance in this Champions League final. Would have been a consolation goal in the end, but a 3-0 result will mean Champions League success for us here at Sporting. I thought we did a pretty good job with this rebuild, focusing heavily on player departures, maintaining realism with the overall ratings, and also seeing a couple of youth academy prospects break into the starting 11. But covering all competitions, Arsenal will again see success in Europa League, Anderlecht with a win in Conference League, Medeiros leading the club in goals and scoring more goals than Ronaldo did last year. As for the assist category, it's Cabral who led the way with 12, and Castro all the way up to an 87 overall. Good growth this season. I quickly want to cover some of the top potential players that left the club, starting with Gonçalves. He achieved a 94 overall. Definitely would have made the difference in Champions League. Pedro Porro up to a 90, still at Manchester City. Nuno Mendes up to an 88 overall, still at Barcelona. And finally, Gonzalo Plata has moved around a bit, ending this rebuild at Wolfsburg with an 85 overall. Our manager rating ends at a 71, but here's a final look at the Sporting squad. If you did enjoy this realistic rebuild, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, but until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.